Hello friends, let's get acquainted. My name is Andrzej Tomakinski, and I'm the head of the Startup School, and I'm responsible for the development and training of startups at early stages. I'm also an active business tracker, and when working with startups, especially in the early stages, a lot of questions arise from the founders themselves, the startups and the trackers, and potential investors about the startup's composition, about the idea. That's what we're going to talk about in our introduction now. And the very first tool that will help us diagnose our startup is a diagnostic card that we can use to do a self-check of our startup. Do we know everything about our consumer, about marketing, about finances in our startup? In order to prepare this information for a potential investor, let's review it. Naturally, there are quite a few questions about different aspects of a startup that are important for us to know as part of business diagnostic. But if we simplify it, there are 5 key questions you need to know the answer to. The first thing is, who are we selling to? It's who our startup is for, that is who our consumer is, who our target audience is, what their problems are, and so on. The second thing is, what are we doing? That is what kind of startup we are, what our solutions are, and how exactly we solve the problems and challenges that our target audience has. Third, where and how do we find our consumers? That is through which channels we deliver value to our consumer, to our potential client, where in general we communicate with our target audience, how we build our monetization model, and how much we spend to deliver that solution to our target customer. The fourth is, how exactly do we make a profit from delivering that value? How do we make a profit on our solution? And the fifth very important question is, why exactly you? That is, why should your startup, unlike say 100 others, attract the attention of a potential investor? What makes you unique, unlike other solutions in this market? The answers to these questions are sort of simplified business model for a startup, so that you can explain literally in 1 minute what you do, in what market, for whom, how you make money, and what solution you have. Well, now let's go over a more detailed scheme that will help you prepare for this extended diagnosis of your startup. Let's proceed with the diagnosis. The very first point you should be able to answer quickly is a summary of your startup. That is what you do, for what clients, what problems and tasks you solve. What is the uniqueness of your solution, and how exactly this solution is implemented, let's say, in the market right now? Formulate it briefly, literally in 2 sentences, the information about your startup, so that tell a new person literally in a couple of seconds who you are. It briefly, literally in 2 sentences, the information about your startup, so that tell a new person literally in a couple of seconds who you are. Next point, it is very important to understand at once what the current stage of your startup is. That is, to understand the readiness of your product, the sales stage, the marketing stage. And is there any current revenue and customers in your startup? If so, how many are there at the moment, and how many clients do you add each month? Among other things, this will give a potential investor an idea of the dynamics of your startup and help formulate point B in the future, where to, as part of an investment or as part of an acceleration program, you can bring your startup. The next 3 points in the diagnosis are certainly related. The first is a description of your target segments, what kind of customers you work with. And the more detailed the information you have is, the better and more understandable it is for your potential investor.